The market are in a slump, and silver has lost 16% of its value this year. Many of us are in excruciating pain, but why silver price is falling today? The fact that silver is just $19 per ounce irritates some of those who have been acquiring it since 2015. But we must keep things in perspective and ready for an even larger drop in silver's price. Yes, guys, the agony is likely not over since we are entering a deflationary phase in which everything is losing value. There is silver in this, as well as gold stacks and real estate. Hello everyone, welcome to Wealthy Wisdom. In this video, we're going to talk about why silver price is falling today. Massive sell-off. If you're new to the channel, do like and subscribe to the channel. Because of its tremendous volatility, silver accounts for just around 20% of my precious metal holdings. I'm also hearing how much silver loses value if it's used as money. And this is still another key fallacy that we must debunk in this video. Since you must buy silver for the right reasons if you wish to do so in the coming months. However, if you're new to silver and beginning from scratch, now is an excellent time to begin amassing more of the metal, since prices are likely to fall much more. Furthermore, the exorbitant rates of recent years will be reversed. We must first grasp the odd environment in which we now find ourselves. Never before in history have interest rates remained so low for so long, producing all of these asset bubbles and the huge money creation over the previous decade. Powell's position on this has shifted dramatically. He is effectively depleting the system's cash. He withdraws $95 billion each month and intends to keep hiking interest rates. An economy that has been reliant on this cheap money will face a harsh withdrawal, resulting in a market crash. We've all realized that silver and precious metals are hard assets, and that real assets have never been cheaper than paper ones. The stock market is falling faster than gold and silver due to the horrendously high rate of inflation. But this does not protect silver from market forces. Many people are selling their belongings and taking out loans in order to pay for gas and put food on the table. I realize it's awful, but the money isn't going to silver. People are bottling to exist, which raises certain fallacies about silver that must be debunked, as well as how we should handle silver in the future. If you decide to keep purchasing silver, make sure you thoroughly understand the benefits and nature of the coins, so that you have the endurance to hang on to it if the price drops by another 10% or even 20%. First and foremost, silver isn't the same as gold. It is not a less stable, less expensive substitute to gold. They are rather distinct. As time passes, it becomes clear that there is an increasing lack of connectivity between them. When the lockdowns began in 2020, gold continued to rise indefinitely. However, silver fell and did not begin to rise again until Powell chose to print billions of dollars. And today, many people believe that silver is money, which I understand because I believe it should be. However, we must recognize that the rest of the world does not perceive things this way, which is why, based only on price, we may see that silver is down 16% while gold is down 3% or so within the same time period. This is significant because it reveals that people see silver as money rather than an industrial metal with a history of being a monitoring device. I observe a significant disparity here, since on average, throughout the previous few recessions, silver has frequently decreased more than gold. Wasn't silver and gold formerly used to back up the US dollar? Silver was not used as a form of money thousands of years ago. As a result, gold is now the primary focus of a monetary system, while silver is taking a secondary seat. As a consequence, as compared to silver, people are less ready to sell gold. If we go back 20 years, silver is still a good store of value and has risen from $5 to over $19. So if you bought it then, you're still in the black. Because the economy is expected to deteriorate before improving, there isn't much of a floor or barrier barring silver from plunging all the way to 14 or 15 levels. If you didn't already know, the Federal Reserve's own GDP prediction model indicated a negative 2.1% growth in the second quarter, which when paired with a minus 1.6% growth in the first quarter, suggests that the economy has entered a recession. The key element keeping the price of silver under pressure will be the economy's continued downturn. If you're averaging into the metal and buying more ounces, you should be mindful of this. Although purchasing for $19 today is significantly superior to buying for $25 a year ago, you must hang on tight and analyze the bigger picture since the massacre may still be occurring. The biggest disadvantage of silver at the moment is that it is mostly an industrial metal. The fact that about 70% is used industrially has downsides. Silver demand will rise as we move toward a greener future because more solar panels and devices will be manufactured. However, gentlemen, we are facing a recession that is unlike any other. Stagflation will occur. That is the worst kind of recession. Consumer spending will likely decline dramatically as borrowing rates rise, making it more difficult for firms to grow. Over time, spending has reduced dramatically. Personally, I've cut my expenditures by 1/3. Layoffs will occur eventually, and believe me, they will be nasty. Not alone is the tax business laying off workers, we are also witnessing layoffs in the mortgage and finance industries. As a result, it may be tough to create a persuasive case for silver, especially if you want to trade it in the short future. You're hoping to make a fast back off of it. Buying physical silver right now is a bad idea. It's unlikely to happen if your plan is to sell it for a gain in 2, 3, or 4 months. If the price does increase, it will only be for a short period of time. When you look at the commitment of traders' reports for silver, you can see that most traders are now short silver, which shows how money is genuinely allocated in the paper silver market. More people are selling silver contracts than are buying them. Yes, I understand that paper silver is not the real metal, but since the paper market is so much bigger than the metal market, it still controls price. It's ridiculous. I see that it is what it is, and that we must accept it. If you look further into the data, we can see that managed money is collecting new short positions in order to push the price of silver down. This is where hedge funds, experts, money managers, and so-called smart money come in. They're betting that silver will come less costly. Looking at them, it is clear that the merchants and manufacturers are both seriously short of silver. 81% of their employment was brief. There are an unreasonably big number of bullets pounding away at silver for the manufacturers and innermost money. However, if you look closely, you'll see that although the other non-reportables that represent independent and retail traders are still heavily long, they're starting to cut their long positions. If the selling continues, the price of silver might fall much more. As a result, silver is under tremendous selling pressure. Could that soon change? Yes. But the market has already priced in the fact that there is a fundamental foundation for a silver bull market anytime near. How much lower can silver go is the central question. Are we now discussing $15 or even $10? Commodities have intrinsic value, which is a good thing. Producing them has a cost. In this case, the cost of silver mining. According to the Seville Institute, the all-in sustaining mining cost for silver in 2021 will be closer to $11 per ounce than Metal Focus projection of about $10. Let's use $11 as an example, which suggests that if the price of silver falls below that level, miners will be unable to earn. They may really lose money at that pricing. Metal mining companies will simply discontinue operations as a consequence of this. After all, who wants to lose money? And the mathematics is simple. If a significant number of mines cannot make a profit, they will stop producing silver. Because supply is declining faster than demand, the price of silver has been driven back over $11. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's continue to tackle why silver price is falling today. This is particularly advantageous since silver will become more enticing as an investment the closer it gets to its mining cost. However, owing to inflation and increased energy prices, I expect that mining costs will reach $11 in 2022. This disadvantage exists when investing in mining firms or mining indexes, such as the GDX or GDXJ. They are all being reduced by 20% as a consequence of increased mining expenditures caused by rising energy prices and rising worker pay, as well as falling silver prices, which are reducing profits. As you can see, I have assets in both real silver metal and mining equities, and we are suffering in the same way that you are. However, I have a long-term view and I'm certain that the payoff will be tremendous. Even if I don't have a crystal ball, I still want to alter the way you and I think about silver. Silver, in my opinion, is a better long-term investment that safeguards money. Instead of seeing silver as an investment in and of itself, I'd want us to consider it as an asset that exists outside of the financial system. Unlike gold, has no counterparty risk since possessing it effectively makes you the owner. There is no risk of a bailout and banks robbing your money if there is a financial catastrophe. As a result, I believe there should be a limit on the amount of silver you may possess, because there may be times when you need money to survive. You should not buy items eternally and stack them as high as possible. I don't want that to happen to you. If you have all of your money in silver and have to sell it at a loss, you may never return to silver since it leaves a foul taste in your mouth. In my opinion, genuine silver is a value store that may be readily defeated. If the financial system collapses, it will not perform as well as the stock market. But if the worst occurs and there is a financial Armageddon, I will have something worthwhile to exchange for in times of need. Of course, gold may be used, but silver is more practical for all of those minor transactions. In this nation, 1 ounce of gold is valued roughly at $1,700, while an equivalent quantity of silver is worth about $20. Trupeter gold has always been a stronger inflation hedge than silver because it is less volatile and far more portable. But if you have silver, you may exploit the additional upside if industrial demand for silver rises. Inflation is one of the reasons why silver price is falling today. People have acquired silver for $25, $27, and even $32 in previous years. With the approaching recession, you'll be in for some fantastic discounts. In addition, I predict a fall in prices for actual silver. When acquiring silver is most cost-effective, rather than chasing a silver squeeze, we're starting to see dealers decrease their premiums by 30%, and in some cases, 50%. Never ever buy anything on credit. Avoid utilizing credit to buy anything, since everything is crumbling, and the only thing rising is your interest rate. When acquiring silver, adopt the mindset of, I'll put it in the grave and dig it out 20 years later. And if you're unable to do so due to financial restraints, you should avoid it. It's simple. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just ask that you invest carefully. I'm currently investing in the silver drop, but only at certain price points such as 18, 17, 16, and so on. I'll buy a little more whenever the price falls to a lower level or near the mining cost. Because the economic picture remains bleak and I am not mad enough to fight the Fed, if it rises, I will not pull the trigger. I'd like to use this opportunity to dispel the myth that silver is a kind of money akin to gold. Will silver ever be used as money again? There are several schools of thought on this, and I feel silver is a secondary monetary metal to gold. In other words, since gold is the big daddy, the king of monetary metals, it will come first when people think of hard money or when the world decides to return to precious metals. Although the silver standard was just as important as the gold standard in 1792, and silver was used as money before gold, there are two critical points to remember. The government, not the free market, established the need for the 15:1 gold ratio. Silver is presently used in industry, more than it is retained as a precious metal. Although I believe the current gold to silver ratio of 91 is fairly high, I do not believe it will ever reach 15:1. We really need to update our beliefs and acknowledge that things change, especially now that silver is more of an industrial metal and central banks store gold rather than silver. The United States, Russia, China, and Germany all maintain gold reserves as part of their foreign currency holdings, rather than silver. This eliminates the central bank, which is a key purchaser of gold. As a result, if the price of gold falls, we may expect central banks to serve as price-supporting buyers of last resort. Silver, on the other hand, is a different story. Private markets will be used to acquire silver. There are several intriguing anecdotes concerning China and Russia's attempts to establish a reserve currency backed by commodities such as gold and silver. There is some chance that silver, if you have some, may also play a role. I'm hoping it will. I possess a lot of silver, but I believe gold will take the lead. Simply said, governments have gold, so why would they use silver that they don't own to make money? Put yourself in their shoes. If I operated a central bank, I would connect it to gold since I have a ton of it in my vaults and want huge benefits from its appreciation. Then sure, silver may enter the market at this time. And if so, the price of silver will skyrocket. This is due to the fact that if there isn't enough gold to satisfy the supply of money, or if the price of gold skyrockets, then sure silver may join the market. However, you should give this some serious attention as well. We are now seeing a daily deflation spiral. The economy will lose money, interest rates will increase, and silver will have a more difficult time. Is it really necessary to pause, contemplate, and ask ourselves why we are buying silver for a day or two? Are we planning a short-term speculative transaction? Do I keep physical silver on hand in case of a financial meltdown? Is it my intention to amass material wealth for future generations? Now, silver will return, and its time will come. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I'll have 100 silver by the end of the year, because I won't. There isn't much evidence to back that up, but I'm certain. I believe that Fed will overcorrect in the future, causing the economy to collapse. I believe they will intervene and resume printing money if unemployment reaches a critical level and people begin to blame Capitol Hill authorities. This will benefit silver as it ushers in a new era of speculation. Please let me know what you think. Are you still buying silver in anticipation of the inevitable crash? Or are you simply waiting it out since you can see the implosion happening? We've reached the end of another video, and thank you for watching. I hope you have learned about why silver price is falling today. If you like this video, do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Thank you and goodbye.